आपण पाहत आहात भारतीय जनमत, आपला चॅनल.
In every country, in every era, there has come a time when an extraordinary person has risen to the occasion, to the challenges and status quo against all odds. One such is a Bharat Ratna, Bodhisattva Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. Original thinker, scholar, jurist, legislator, guiding force and the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, economist, public policy leader and development practitioner. The magnificent Babasaheb Ambedkar was all of these and more. Crisp was his thoughts, precise and clear were his views. Unabashed and non-mind were his words in every platform from which he spoke or wrote. The more one reads of Babasaheb, the more one admires his unique and intellect and understands his significance and the circumstances under which he joined the status quo and truly sought the disruption and calling for the complete annihilation of the caste system. Babasaheb had seen society from the prism of the brute force and the caste-based discrimination, like no one else. Thus, he stood for the cause of all-round empowerment of the socially disadvantaged until his last very breath. Even when he was in England for the first round table conference in 1930, it is recorded that he wrote in a letter to Dada Saheb Bhurao Gaikwad about how people threw their sympathetic towards him and that he was happy to see them inclined to the favor demands of the untouchables. When I believe Dada Saheb's life is by itself a message, I have found some of his view on the communism and China truly revelatory and absorbing. In addition to Hinduism, he understood the glaring fault lines of the both communism and China, constantly urged all to be aware and alert about. In one of his famous speeches, Buddha or Karl Marx, he had mentioned no words in clearly articulating the fundamental differences between the two. It is worth reading and understanding. Babasaheb was faithfully follower of the tenets and the Buddha he imbibed and put forth of the essence and encountering the communism which he was vehemently against whenever he spoke about the Buddhism. He always accorded it is the status of the proven scientific religion and not for the random mysterious practice. For Buddhism, he always accorded in the status of the proven scientific religion and not of the mystical practice. For Babasaheb, communism was the synonyms with the violence and is illustrated with the great depth, powerful word and meaning. Buddha would never allow violence, but the communists do. No doubt the communist gets quickly results because when you adopt the means of the annihilating a man, they do not remain to oppose you. Humanity does not only want economic values, it also wants spiritual values to be retained. Permanent communist dictatorship has paid no attention to the spiritual values and does not seem to intend to. The Carlyle called the political economy a big pig philosophy. The Carlyle was of course wrong, for man needs to material comforts, but the communist philosophy seems to equally wrong, for the aim of their philosophy seems to be the fatten pigs. As true the men are no better than pigs, the man must grow materially as well as spiritually. Buddha's method was to change the mind of the man without the use of the force. Buddha sought to change the man's of the moral disposition to follow the path of the vulnerability. The means adopted by the communists are equally clear, short and swift. One is a violence and second is a dictatorship of the proletariat, he said. The follow-up to this is a Babasaheb's stern propositions to then the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru on China. There were but few who understand the China nefarious designs, and among them, the leading luminary was without any doubt Babasaheb. He unequivocated positions to the China, or for the matter any communist country is on record. The statue clarity with which he forewarned then the Prime Minister another speech worth reading. The Prime Minister has been depending upon what may be he called the Panchashil taken by the Mr. Mao and recorded the Tibet Treaty on the non-aggression. Well, I am somewhat surprised that the Prime Minister should taken his Panchashil seriously. The Panchashil, as you, sir, know it as well, It is the essential part of the Buddhist religion. If Mr. Mao has taken in the faith in the Panchshil, If Mr. Mao had any faith in the Panchshil, he would certainly treat the Buddhist in his country in a very different way. There is no room for the Panchshil in the politics, and secondly, not in the political of the communist country. The communist countries have no morality. Today's morality is not tomorrow's morality. Signed in the 1945 under Nehru, Panchshil was an agreement of a set of the principles signed between India and the China to govern the relations between both the countries. These are the two remarkable exports from the galaxy of the works and the speeches of the Babasaheb, in which he suggested that India should never mistake, entertain or take lightly any interaction with the communists. His imports of the words is revealing because India at the time of the post-Cold War era period was in the effect ruled by the dispensations that shared the left and the center worldview. 21st century is the most certainly evolving global power political and power structure, but the very root and the essence of the two seeds, that is, communism and the China, according to me, remains the same as what the Yuga Purusha Babasaheb foresaw and explained. Most importantly, communism is by no means challenging the status quo, but in effect, it is violent philosophy that this has to be understood by all. It is imperative for the common man to study and understand Babasaheb. The premise that the championed was in well always remain the relevant and the contemporary. That's it for today. Keep watching Bhartiya TV Janmat news channel.